Why do I feel this way? There are moments when something feels off, but you can't explain why. Nothing obvious has happened, nothing you can point to, but internally something isn't settled. You might notice it and how you move through your day: restless, distracted, short-tempered, disconnected, tired but wired. And the hardest part isn't the feeling itself, it's the not knowing what to call it. That's when the question shows up: why do I feel this way? When you feel something you can't name, there's often an expectation, spoken or not, that we should just understand our own emotions, that if something feels off, we should be able to explain it. And when we can't, it's easy to turn that frustration inward. I should know this. Why can't I figure this out? What's wrong with me? That layer of pressure doesn't bring clarity. It usually makes the feeling harder to access, because now you're not just feeling something, you're reacting to the feeling that you don't understand. How feelings get disconnected. Sometimes the reason you can't explain what you're feeling is because the feeling didn't start where you are now. Something happened earlier, a moment you moved through quickly, something you didn't want to face at the time, something that didn't fully land when it happened, so you kept going, and later the feeling showed up, and now it's disconnected from the original moment, which makes it harder to trace, harder to understand, harder to name. When it shows up later, this is where it can feel confusing because nothing is happening now, but something is being felt. And without a clear starting point, the feeling can seem bigger or more persistent than it actually is. Not because it's wrong, but because it hasn't been fully processed yet. If this is where you are right now, feeling something you can't quite name, you don't have to push yourself to figure it out immediately. You don't have to force clarity. There's space to let it come into focus in its own time. The pressure to figure it out. Wanting to understand your emotions isn't a problem. It's actually part of how understanding comes. But when that desire turns into pressure, it can create distance instead of clarity, because emotions don't tend to respond to force. They respond to space, to attention, to being noticed without being pushed. Finding your way back to it. Sometimes, if you give yourself enough space, the connection comes back. You remember the moment, the conversation, the shift. Not always immediately, but gradually. Other times, it helps to talk it through, to say it out loud and let someone else hold the thread with you. Not to tell you what it is, but to stay with you while it becomes clearer. If you find yourself wanting to put words to what you're feeling, but you're not quite there yet, this might help. My Naming Feeling blogs, the link is in the text. That process, wanting to understand, staying with it, allowing it to unfold, is often what leads to knowing, not all at once, but enough. There's nothing wrong with you. Not being able to name what you're feeling doesn't mean something is wrong. It usually means something hasn't had space yet. Emotions aren't always immediate or organized. They don't always show up where they started, and they don't always come with clear language. That doesn't make them less real. A place to stay with it. If you're sitting with something you can't quite explain, you don't have to sort through it on your own. At Hold, we offer a calm, confidential space where you can talk things through without interruption, judgment, or the need to have it figured out first. If you're not ready for that, you're welcome to explore other blogs here and take your time. There's no need to rush your way through this. If you do want a place to stay with it until it becomes clear, you can start here. hearingoutlivedrama.com/book-online.